Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are going to be finding the least common multiple of two whole numbers and then apply those strategies to some real world situations. But we have a treat for you today. We are going to have a special appearance from Miss Abbott, who is calling in all the way from England. Hopefully she's not too tired with the time zones, but she's really excited to show you some really neat math. Let's review a few key concepts before we jump into some real-world problems. So, what is a multiple? A multiple of a number is the product of the number and another number. So 9 would be a multiple of the number 3 because 3 times 3 equals 9. So 9 is a multiple of 3. Now, what would that make 3? What did we learn the other day? You got it. 3 is a factor of 9. 9 is the multiple of 3 and 3. And think of it like what two numbers, when we multiply together, gives us that big number. So 9 is a product, and we used multiplication to get to that product. Now, the least common multiple of two or more numbers is the least number other than 0 that is a multiple of all the numbers. So let's show an example. Let's look at the numbers 2 and 4. And when I think of finding multiples, I think I'm just going to continually be multiplying. So when I'm starting at 2, I say 2 times 1 is 2. That's the first multiple. 2 times 2 is 4. That's the second multiple. And as you can see, we're just counting by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. 4, if I start with 4 times 1, I get 4. That's the first multiple. 4 times 2 is 8. That's the second multiple. 4 times 3 is 12, which is the third multiple. And as you can see, I'm essentially counting by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16. What's the next one? You got it, 20, and so on. And as you know, numbers keep counting until infinity, so we want to keep going until we see some common multiples. And do we? Well, 4 doesn't have 2 in common, but they do have a multiple of 4 in common. They have a multiple of 8 in common. I wonder what the next one would be. Well, if we kept going up by 2s, I'm pretty sure we'd hit 12, and we would keep going and going and going. There's a never-ending number of common multiples, but there's only one least common multiple, and as you can see, that's the number 4. The least common multiple is the first multiple they have in common, and this one is 4. I also noticed a pattern. The least common multiple is 4, the next common multiple is 8, and I know that after 10 would come 12 when counting by 2s, and 2 and 4 have 12 in common. I've noticed that the multiples are going up by 4. 4, 8, 12. I've noticed a pattern with the common multiples. But for this instance, the least common multiple is 4. Okay, now it's your turn. Find the least common multiple of 2 and 6. Press pause on the video, give it a try on your own, and then press play to self-check. Don't cheat. Come on, press pause. Make sure you do this on your own first, and then self-check. Alrighty, self-check. Did you get the least common multiple to be 6? If not, go back to the last screen and review how to find least common multiple. Otherwise, let's go on to some real-life situations where we can use the least common multiple to solve some problems. Okay, so here's a situation. If an athlete trains for one sport every 6th day, that means if I start on one day, 6 days later, I'm training for that sport, and then another 6 days later, I'm training for that sport, and another, and so on, every 6 days. And then I'm training for another every 8th day. So a different sport I have after school every 8th day. How can you determine the days on which the athlete will train for both sports? So if I look at a calendar, I can count, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's when I train for one of my sports every 6th day. And then the other is every 8th day. It would be a problem if I train for the sport on the same day. So I have to figure out how often this happens. Well, we can use the common multiples to find out. So if I'm counting every 6th day, I know that I train on the 6th day, the 12th day, the 18th day. The fourth multiple would be 6 times 4 on the 24th day, and then the 30th day, and so on. If I'm training for a different sport every 8th day, I can say, well, I trained for it on the 8th day. 8 times 2 is 16, so I've trained on the 16th day. 8, 16, 24. I'm then training on the 24th day, and then on the 32nd day, and so on. And when I look for anything in common, the first sport, I see that they share a 24 and a 24. So what does that mean? If I train for the first sport, I'm going to be playing that sport on the 24th day of the month. And the second sport, I'm also going to be training on the 24th day of the month. So every 24 days, I'm going to be training for both sports together on the same day. So I guess I'd have to schedule one sport in the morning and one sport in the afternoon, because I don't think you can train for it at the same time. But as you can see, we used our knowledge of common multiples to find out when these situations would be in common, when they would be training on the same day. Alrighty guys, looks like our special guest has called in, and she's going to help us with this hot dog problem. I'm going to read the problem, and then she's going to explain to us how to solve it. Are you ready, Miss Abbott? Oh, thank you so very much for inviting me to your video accounts. It's so exciting to be talking to some Americans. So boring over here in England. I think it's raining again, but I'm having a joyous time being here with you. Oh, thank you, Miss Abbott. Sorry about the rain. It rains here too sometimes, but not every day. Speaking of not raining, we have a lot of barbecues, and we eat hot dogs a lot. Do you eat hot dogs in England? Oh, bless me, no. We would never eat a hot dog, but I do believe they're very good. But no. Over here, we just have tea and crumpets and very nice things. But we'll talk about Franks, sure. We could probably, in the next question, maybe talk about some biscuits and tea and things like that. But I don't mind talking about hot dogs, not at all. Oh, good. I'm glad. Sorry about that. Next time we'll have some crumpets for you. All right. So in America, hot dogs come packed 10 in a package. And then the buns that we put the hot dogs in, they come in 8 in a package. So when we have barbecues, we usually buy the Franks and the hot dog buns at the same time, and usually I can never tell how many I should buy, because if there's 10 hot dogs in a package and only 8 buns in the package, then I can't just buy one package of hot dogs and one package of buns. I wouldn't have enough buns. You know, I noticed that actually, Mrs. Highland. I don't understand why you Americans do such silly things. If you're going to sell 10 hot dogs in a package, why wouldn't you sell 10 hot dog buns? I know, Miss Abbott, it's a little silly, but they like to make things hard for us, so we need to solve this problem. We need to buy enough to have a party. So if we want 1 hot dog for each bun for a picnic with none left over, what is the least amount of each we need to buy? So how many packages of each item would we have to buy? If I buy 1 set of hot dogs, I'm going to have 10 hot dogs, and 1 set of buns, I'm only going to have 8 buns. So I need to figure out what's the least amount of hot dogs and buns that I can buy that everyone will just get a hot dog and a bun. Well, Miss Highland, you were just recently talking about least common multiple, and I think you can do that here. I think you can continually count by 10 hot dogs like this. So 1 package of hot dogs would be 10, and then the next would be 20, and the next would be 30, and then you'd have 40, and then you'd have 50, and so on. I hope you're inviting a lot of people, because if you don't, they're going to be eating a lot of hot dogs. Don't worry, Miss Abbott. We're going to have a lot of people at the barbecue, and you're more than welcome to fly over. Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I probably should, and I should try one of these hot dogs. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So we have buns that count by 10, and then, we have hot dogs that are by 10, and then the buns come in sets of 8. So if I count by 8, the first package would have 8. The second package would give me 16 buns, and then the third package would be 24. Now, I'm counting by 8. I have to remember this. 8, 16, 24. Oh, that's right. 32 is next. And then another 8 is 40. Then another 8 is 48 buns. I just noticed something, Miss Highland. What did you notice, Miss Abbott? Well, if I count by 10 hot dogs, I get up to 40. I can have 40 hot dogs, and then when I count by the buns of 8, I could also have 40 buns. So it looks like you're going to have to buy 40 hot dogs and 40 buns for you to have one hot dog per bun. Wow, that's a lot of hot dogs, Miss Abbott. It is indeed. That doesn't answer the question now, does it, Mrs. Highland? The question doesn't ask for 40. It actually asks for how many packages of each. So I know I'm going to need 40 items, but they come in packages of 10 and they come in packages of 8. So if I'm buying the hot dogs of 10 each, I only need to buy 4 packages of hot dogs. But the buns, I'm going to have to buy, let's see, what times 8 is 40? Oh, that's 5. I'd have to buy 1 more packages of buns, then the hot dogs, so that I could have an even 40-40. So essentially, I would buy 8 packages of 4 plus 5. And then I would get my amount. Miss Abbott, I just have one question. I think you made a mistake with saying that there's 8 groups of 4 plus 5. Oh, jolly good, dear me. I did make a mistake. That's okay. It's the time difference. I'm sure you're really tired. You're how many hours ahead of us? Oh, I'm 5 hours ahead of all of you. So it's like I've started my day and I'm almost ending it. Yeah, so you're probably just a little tired because I'm noticing that there's a mistake there. I wonder if our students can see the mistake. Well, why don't you pause the video and see if they can see the mistake in there? So, Miss Abbott, I don't think it's 8 packages of 4 plus 5. I actually think that we're buying 4 packages of 10 plus 5 packages of 8, which gives us our 40 hot dogs plus our 40 buns. Oh, right, Mrs. Highland. Well done for correcting me. I hope all of you have an absolutely wonderful evening, and remember to use least common multiple when dealing with these situations. And please do visit England. I'll take you all around town, but we're not going to eat any hot dogs. All righty, cheerio. Bye, Miss Abbott. Thank you.